Here we go, folks. Yes, that's right. Can you suggest a good publisher? Well, can I suggest a good publisher? Now, look, you would think to yourself, oh, the man is a publisher. He's Sean Bavala. He is the publisher at the Small Tooth Dog Publishing Group here in Arizona. So you would think, if somebody asked the question, can you recommend a good publisher, like that person asked, then you would think that I have an answer for that. But you know what? My answer to this question, can you suggest a good publisher, may not be the answer that you think that I should be given to can you suggest a good publisher, because you might think, oh, well, the first thing it's going to say is, well, come publish your books with us. And you know what? I might even put that in there, but I'm going to tell you something. The question isn't, can you suggest a good publisher? The question is, what do I need as an author? What do my books need? What does my audience need? That's the question. It's not about, can you recommend a good publisher? It's not about taking your book query or letter or whatever it is you learned in author school and shotgunning that out to the world. It's not about that at all. So let me get in here. Liz Weir is here. Holy cow. Liz Weir? Wow. From the other side of the world. What is it, 1 o'clock in the morning there? Oh my goodness, what an honor to see you. That's terrific. All right, so can you suggest a good publisher? So let's continue to talk about that. So when you have a book put together and you've got this concept, the question then becomes, what do you want to do with that book? Do you want to be an international bestseller? Okay, that's cool. That's great. Maybe you do. I personally am not worried about that as an author. Oh, wait a minute, that's not right. But Sean, shouldn't your goal to be on every bestseller list on the planet? No. Because what I'm trying to do, again, what's your goal as your author? As I'm trying to produce books that support the work that I do in, let's say, early literacy, or family studies, or creativity, or marketing. That's what I want to do. I want books that support all of that. So my question, let's see, I'm going to try something that I've never, ever tried here. Let's see, I apparently can put a poll up. I've never tried this before. This would be interesting. So if any of you who show up can see this, there's a poll. Apparently we can do polls on Facebook Lives. I have never done that before. So let's see, I put that poll up. So the question is have you ever published a book? So I'm in this other discussion group, right? And people in that group don't know necessarily that I'm a publisher. And somebody says, can you recommend a good publisher? And the instant reactions from people who are mostly other authors is to start listing publishing companies. Well, this one. Okay, wait, hold on a second. Again, what's your goal as an author? And as an author, you take the answer to that question, your goal, your dreams, your desires, your purpose and meaning in the world, and you take that and you start to find publishers that align with that. So for some people, we are the perfect publisher. We are. And as the perfect publisher for those particular people, do we produce beautiful books? Yes, we do produce beautiful books. Do we produce beautiful books, and I say this with humility and gratitude, do we produce beautiful books that win really big awards for publishing? Yes, we do. And even with that, we may not be the right publishing company for you. You might come to me with a great book idea and say, this is what I want to do and where I want to go. And this is my dream about my book. And this is what I want it to be. And no matter how good that book might be, hello Stretch, hello Mark, good evening. No matter how good that book might be, it might not align with what we do as a publisher, okay? Liz Weir says this really well. She says, people need to look at what is on the publisher's lists that match what you want to publish. That is majority true of that. I had somebody the other day say to me, well, I've got this book idea, but it doesn't align with what you do. And I said, it doesn't align with what you've seen, because many publishers also have sub-imprints. We have two sub imprints. We have one called Under the Stone Publishing, which is for really kind of unique business books that don't fit. So we've got the Small Two Thought Publishing, and then we have another one called Under the Stone Publishing. So if somebody brings me a book that's like, we could do something with this, but it doesn't quite fit the front list, we have another imprint for that, and then we have a third imprint that I'm not ready to announce yet. So we come from there. So people do need to look at what does that publisher do. So the answer to the question is, can you recommend a good publisher? Is yes, but what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with your book? You know, if you bring a book to us that's designed as a young adult romance novel, we're not the right people for you. And that's got nothing to do with whether your book is the perfect book or not. There's even a number of children's books. You might bring us children's books ideas, and we've produced a number of children's books ideas with awards, with different types of awards. Yes, we've done all that. But yet your book might not quite align with what we need. So avoid the dreaded rejection letters, which are never personal, And all the times I've had to reject people's letters or reject people's books, it's not like, well, I hate this person, therefore I'm pushing them away. No, it's about your book doesn't align. See, back in the day when there were only 5 publishers in the world that you could choose from, the rules were completely different. But the number of independent book publishers out now that are producing excellent, high quality, beautiful, informative, useful books is huge. Your choice as an author is you don't just have to hope one of the big 5 picks you up. By the way, being picked up by one of the big 5 doesn't mean that your book's going to do any better than it might do with any of independent publishers. We as independent publishers get very focused on what we offer and what we bring out to the world. You know, our company, the Small Two Thought Publishing Group, is very much about the author creating their presence. Very important to us. If your goal is to write books and then go hide while somebody else sells your books, we are completely the wrong publishing company. All right, let me see what's happening right now. Let's see. Mark says, hello, Liz. Stretch asks a great question. Do authors ever interview? All right, so that was the first poll. So I'm going to jump around from. So the first thing I asked was, have you ever published a book? And the answers are 50-50 in that one. Interesting. All right, let me see what this one is. I have another piece of the poll. Can I publish all these polls? Oh, look at that. All right, so another poll is, okay, that one is there. Have you ever published a book? All right, okay. So the next question is, do you want to publish a book? Is publishing a book somewhere in your please? Stretch says, polls are brand new. I've never done polls before. Do authors ever interview publishers beyond what is listed on the publisher info page? Absolutely, Stretch. I speaking for us as a company, and I know this is very true of the other publishing companies that I'm very familiar with. We're really not betting on your book. We're betting on the author. That's very true for many of us. Very few authors bring a concept for a book that is really new. Most people bring books to us that are derivative of other ideas, which is not a bad thing. But it's the author. I'm betting on the author. So for our small publishing company, and for many, they're betting on the author. What does the author bring? What is the author's platform? You know, if you're an international Irish storyteller like Liz Weir, she's going to sell books. She brings a platform there that's ready to go. So maybe you're not an international best-selling storyteller. Maybe you're just someone trying to publish a book. I'm still going to interview and talk to you. So if you have followed the guidelines like on our site, and every publisher has this on their site, if you followed the guidelines on our site that say how to submit a book, you have to follow those directions. If somebody submits a book to us and we say, don't ever send me an attachment on a query, if somebody throws a query at us that has an attachment on it, I delete it without reading it. So when somebody does that, and I look at a book that's like interesting, I go out and I go look for the author. I go and talk, I go find the author on social media. If they have no social media presence, that book has to sing for me to pick them up. If I see that person has some social media presence and they're trying, yeah, absolutely. There's going to be an interview. There's going to be an interview and a discussion that goes with that. Rachel says the library is closed, so I can actually be here now. Yeah, it's a holiday in the U.S. Absolutely, Rachel, good to see you. Thank you for that. Let's see. Scott says glad to be here. Thank you, Scott. Good to see you. Rachel says Kirkus reviews make a difference for many libraries. Make a difference for many libraries, and adding to the collection doesn't really matter the publisher. Every library system has their own. We have several books that are Kirkus reviewed. And we have a number of other books that have other professional level review. It's not just somebody's opinion. So Kirkus can be really good. Kirkus reviews a lot of reviews, but every library system has their thing. You can have a great book, and if the library system refuses to buy from the distributor where your book is, where your book is placed, this isn't my book, this is Amanda Malik Amadi's book. If the library system won't buy from that thing, you can have the greatest book on the planet that's Kirkus reviewed and Publishers Weekly reviewed and everything, Library Journal reviewed. But if they won't stretch outside of their buying system, well, then that book's not going to get picked up in the library. And again, that's not the most important thing to us at Small Tooth Dog. My most important thing is how does Amanda or any of the other authors that we have, Harriet or Tamara or what have you, how are they going to impact the world with their work? And sell the books as part of that process. I want to teach them to and help them find that place where they can sell books by the case. If your goal is hitting the New York Times bestseller list, my first question to you is why? It's not what you think it is. And then my second response to you is we're not your publisher. If you want to bring a memoir to us, we can talk about that if it fits the rest of the stuff that we publish, right? If you want to bring a young adult novel to us, if it hits a certain reading thing and has a certain content, yes, but for the most part, no. If you want to bring a romance thing to us, we're not the right publisher for that. If you want to bring a scientific journal, we're not the right people for that. If you want to bring erotica, we're not the right people for that. All of those are good books. All of those serve a place and a purpose, but they're not necessarily the right publisher for us. So that question I started with today was, can you suggest a good publisher? The answer to that question is, what do you want as an author? Why everybody chimes in and says, well, here's they list all these publishers. So what? You have to know what you want. And as a publisher that really pushes that, Small Tooth Dog Publishing, right there, that's a hard question for many authors. So, that's the thing. All right, so let's see. Do you want to publish a book? Let me see. Let me reopen that poll. I don't know if it actually went open. So the first one was, have you ever published a book? That was 50-50. This next poll that is showing somewhere on your screen, and I have never seen this before, so this is a big experiment. The next poll is, do you want to publish a book? So you can answer that if you want to, one way or the other. So that's what we're doing. So some announcements about what we're doing, and then I will tell you what the next step is if maybe you're thinking about a book. And if you're not, that's okay too. I love you. And if you have marketing questions about other stuff that has nothing to do with that storytelling or marketing or communication, put that in the question box too. Let me pop over to that question box again and see what I've missed. Liz says people on the publishers list. Stretch question we got. Thank you, Rachel. Good to see you, Scott. The Kirkus thing, yes. Kirkus is on the library radar, but it's not on everybody's. It's not on every library's radar. Kirkus is one of many places to get books done. There are really good up-and-coming serious review spots like Indie Reader and stuff like that works really hard on stretching out. But I do have books that are Kirkus reviewed, and I have books that are not. And there's reasons that I would submit a book to Kirkus for a review and reasons that I would not. There are investment decisions about books. Publishing is a pay-for-play industry. Now, and I know that's going to shock some people because they fall into this purity notion of books and art and literature. And I know that's part of people, but publishing is pay-for-play. And if you want the major reviewers to get a hold of your book, then you have to spend a lot of money on advertising to get to that point. So it's not a pure industry in any way at all. Kirk is on the library radar. Mark says, "Hey, erotica, get on the bandwagon." Mark, the erotica industry, without any snickering at all, is a giant industry that there's a lot of money in, and there's a huge demand for that. There's also some really good writing in erotica. There's also some crazy bad writing in erotica. There's also 50 Shades of Grey. So, you figure out where that fits into all of it. Erotica can do really well. It's not something that I want. We are experimenting with another genre. It's not erotica, that we think will do really well with fan cons and comic cons and conventions and graphic novel work. So we're very excited about what might do that. Rachel says, so what do you read in that genre? What publishers are they coming from? There is a lot of independently produced or very small press produced erotica work. I'm simply not interested in it, so I don't read that much. There's got one person that says they want to, reading my poll, one person who wants to publish a book, and let me check. Can I show you the results? That's really this is so much fun because I don't know how polls work, so I'm just totally playing around with them tonight. So some if you have any other questions, put them in the box. So some information is coming up. We have some live in-person events coming up. We will be at the end of January, on the 29th of January, a beautiful, beautiful date in the calendar because it's also my birthday. On the 29th of January, we are doing the Tempe Fan Con or Fan Fest, which is all things comics and books related. We're doing a live one, and so far it'll be me as an author, and Tamara Norwood as an author, and Amanda Malik Amati as an author, and Michelle as an illustrator, and that's all I know so far for sure. But we're doing a live thing, so we will have books for sale. We'll be talking about publishing. We will have a family tent where people can do coloring and buttons. And it's an outdoor event. I am both excited to be back out and seeing human beings again, and also terrified of being back out and seeing human beings again. So that's really interesting. So that is coming up there. So we will be doing that. And I'm doing a private event in February for an early literacy conference, and I'm doing that along with Tamara Norwood, also one of our authors. I think she's here this evening. We're doing an early literacy event talking to librarians about publishing their books. She's going to talk about her publishing journey. I'm very excited about it because early literacy is a big darn deal around here. Our Story Skill Child project, I'm really hoping to relaunch the Story Skill Child project. One of my personal resolutions for 2022, coming in, was to do more coaching and more teaching and less programming. And that's a personal goal for me. So, Rachel says, too bad I can't put it's complicated for a poll answer. Yes, I know. I know. I want to give every possible, as they say, shade of gray to these answers. Rachel says the love-hate relationship of seeing human beings again. Yeah, I know, Rachel. It's crazy. I've been working on a private thing most of December, things that I have an NDA on and can't talk about, but I will say that it's involved me seeing a lot of human beings out in the wild again, and that's been a really interesting, it's been an emotional experience for me. It's more than I can cover right here, but it's been an emotional experience being back out in the wild with people. It's been very, very interesting. So the last poll that's going to come up is this last thing where we talk about everything I've talked about tonight, marketing, etc., things like that. We have a process called a discovery call. It's a 30-minute call. Yes, it's a paid call because it avoids the tire kickers. And that can be found at seanthings.com, SEANTHINGS.com. If you would like to arrange a 30-minute talk, just you and me on Zoom, so we can see each other and hear each other and talk to each other. This is a one-time thing. You can only do this once with me in this format. It's at seanthings.com. There's a discovery call there, and it's 30 minutes to talk about you. It is not a 30-minute sales call from me. I have some questions I'd like to ask you, but you can also just say, all right, 30 minutes, start the clock now, let's go. And we're going to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. You want to talk about publishing? We'll do that. You want to talk about marketing? We'll do that. It's a 30-minute call to help you discover and get some clarity on what it is that you want. 30 minutes to talk about you, not 30 minutes for me to sell you anything. At the end of the 30 minutes, after we've talked about all of your stuff, we've done all of that. If there's a connection there, I will show you some options for us to continue in discussion and relationship. And if not, you're a wonderful human being. Great to meet you. So it's a 30-minute call focused on you. You go to seanthings.com. I think it's $36. seanthings.com, SEANTHINGS.com. And come join us. Let's talk. Let's get you into that coaching relationship if you're new. So this is how you start now. seanthings.com. Go do the discovery call. All right. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else that you would like in the question box for today? It's great to see you all. I'm glad to see a number of people here tonight. So that's terrific. Anyway, the last poll is, do you want to set up a 30-minute call? So either go here or visit. Go ahead and do that. Let me make sure I've got all of your questions and stuff in tonight. All right. So to sum up what we're talking about. Can you suggest a good publisher? Yes, I can. But to do that, I need to know who you are as an author, what your dreams and goals are. And part of my role as a publisher is to be able to say, this is the direction that you might want to go in. We're not the direction, or we are the direction. Or maybe you need to go this way, or maybe you need to go this way. Or sometimes my job is to say, you're on the right path, but you're not ready for the publisher question yet. Here's some other things you need to do. And that's one of the things we do in the discovery call, by the way. You know, if you're like, okay, I know that I want to get a book out, but I don't even know what I should be doing first. Well, then I'm going to start where you are. I'm going to start where you are. So if you want to be a professional storyteller, or you want to do marketing for your work, or you want to write a book, I'm going to start where you are. And in the discovery call, by the end of that call, you'll have actionable steps that you can take. All right. So that's my job. Let's see. Mark says he wants to have lunch with me. Okay, Mark. I am known to eat lunch. I have eaten lunch in the past. Let's find a lovely place that has outdoor seating, because I'm still paranoid, as Rachel says, the love-hate relationship. All right. Got to find a place with outside seating, though, Mark. And we can do that because we're in the same city. All right. My friends, thank you. Thanks for being here tonight. Every Monday I try to do something. If you've got questions and thoughts, you can put them in the box. We can talk to each other. This is the free model that goes in here. I try to have some comments to say in the beginning, and then we go from there. Rachel says, this makes me think of your hilarious Instagram reel of wanting to write but don't have an outline or anything. Yeah, I'll repost that Instagram reel when people are like, hey, I want to write a book. You know, my job is to go, well, have you written a book? No. Have you written an outline? No. Have you written ideas on a gum wrapper? No. And at the end of the video, well, something happens. So yeah, I love helping people get their stories out, whether it's on stage or on the page. I love doing that. I think it's important. I think it's important that we share our stories. I think it's critical. It's my far out woo-woo thought. Our stories belong in the world. Absolutely. The stories of our ancestors belong in the world. Folk tales, folklore belong in the world. These stories that form the people that came before us, but also the stories that are happening to you right now. Those stories need to be out in the world. Those stories when things go right, those stories when things go wrong, you know? Oh, Rachel found it. Thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate that. Uh, all right, Mark is offering to pay for lunch, so I may have to take him up on that. Are you back in the actual classroom? Are you doing the adjunct thing in a real honest to goodness live community college classroom? Wow, Mark. Woo! Here we go, brother. Okay. Rachel, thank you for posting that. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, my friends, always a pleasure to have you with us. Always a pleasure to talk to you. I love doing these Monday nights. I'm glad all my scheduling worked out today. You're terrific people. I will see you around. Okay. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.